So we'll call the meeting to order, 6:30 p.m. EHS, roll call. Counselor Montigny.
Present.
Counselor Ortiz.
Present.
Citizen Member Provost.
Present.
Citizen Member Torres.
Present.
And Counselor Rivas, present. We have a full quorum today. All right. On to item number 3, review and discuss.
Madam Chair, I'd like to recuse myself from this.
Sure. Okay. The record reflect that Citizen Member Provost recused himself from the discussion. And item number 3, review and discuss the town manager's appointment of Gil Provost to the Board of Health effective immediately through June 30th, 2024. Entertain a motion to town council for approval.
So second.
So who was first?
So
Okay. Councilor Ortiz, Councilor Montigny. All right, discussion.
So as you're aware that we had 2 resignations from the Board of Health. Board of Health is very busy right now, especially with the solid waste, so we want to get these, we actually had 3 individuals that applied, one then withdrew his application. So we have these 2 individuals. Gil's appointment would just go through June 30th, 2024, and would fill the unexpired term of Mr. Grabowski.
All right, any questions? Mr. Provost, go ahead. Councilor Marquetti.
So, I have nothing against Gil. I think you make a good member of the Board of Health. I just was curious if you felt there was any conflict whatsoever with the department. I realize Board of Health doesn't really oversee. I'm not shooting at Town Councilor Lonzo, I'm just asking the question. I know that they don't really oversee the inspections, but
They do not. Now that the department's been separated, the health inspector is totally separate from the building inspector.
Okay.
So this would just, it would have nothing to do with the inspections department when it comes to building inspection department.
Councilor Lonzo.
Just another example, there was another person that was going for the Board of Health position, that his wife is the secretary in that office, and the Ethics Commission did not think that was any conflict, which kind of was, I didn't understand it, but the Ethics Commission put it out there. So this one here is even further away from conflict than the one that the Ethics Commission already said it wasn't a conflict. So I don't think we're going to have a problem with it.
Councilor Montigny.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, and just to add to this discussion, whenever everybody thinks of a conflict of interest in any kind in these positions, it's always are you the master and the server? Because you cannot do that. So as long as the person on a board of any kind doesn't have anything to do with paying themselves or their immediate family, there really is no conflict of interest violation, and that's the way we were taught. So certainly, since the departments are split up, as the town manager said, this would be satisfactory, in my opinion. I will be supporting Mr. Provost.
Anyone else have questions?
Can I make a comment? I sit on the Board of Health. We are short 2 people. We do need help. We don't have a lot of people coming forward for these positions. We have 2 guys been in town their whole life. I just ask that you support so we can have help on our board, especially like the manager said, especially with the solid waste. It's a big thing right now in town to get us help.
Thank you. Anyone else?
If I can clarify, Gil has a background in plumbing, right?
Yeah.
That could be a helpful point. I think that when we get to Roland, he's been on the Board of Health, so I definitely support him joining us. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
I guess I'll just add one more thing too, that Mr. Provost has many years of experience to working in the fire department, which, as you know, they deal with emergency services as well. So when it comes to health, it's a very good candidate to be pulled forward in front of us tonight, especially to fill something so short and a quick turnaround is good.
Okay. Anyone? I have a question. And while I agree that your qualifications match, for the Board of Health, that you definitely, that Mr. Provost would probably be a benefit to that board. My concern is sort of serving on, and selfishly, as the chair of the EHS subcommittee, just concerning about commitment to both. I just kind of looked back, and I think that there have been more absences than attending for this particular subcommittee. And I want to make sure that we have people on EHS that are committed to coming and to participating. And while I do agree that Mr. Provost's qualifications speak more to the Board of Health, I am concerned about having someone that hasn't been as present in EHS, and so what that effect will be moving forward between now and, I know it's a short amount of time, but
In my conversation with Mr. Provost is seeking this appointment. He is committed to this. I'm not sure, and it could be a scheduling conflict that he had, that he couldn't make those other EHS meetings. I know some of those meetings, I'm not sure, but he's fully committed to this. I have no questions about his commitment to the Board of Health. In regards to that, I can't answer to his EHS, but my conversations with him, he's very committed to serving on this committee for the remainder of the term, and we can see if he doesn't show up, then we'll deal with that in June. If he doesn't, if there's problems with attendance or not participating, but my conversations with him, he's fully committed to this, and it's desperately needed.
I would just say that I hope that's true, because I know on the Board of Health side, we have had a couple of people who have been less attending than we would need. So we definitely need to have people that, and one of them just resigned, so he's not an issue anymore. And I realize there's conflicts, and that's fine, but we really need the people who can make sure that they show up on our end. So
yeah,
if
and that.
he's willing to do that, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, and I do think that his interests and his skills are more well suited. But just thinking about, whether, if that becomes sort of too much for both the committee, and thinking about other people have been interested in EHS, and so maybe thinking about, choosing one over the other, that might be the preference. It's just a suggestion and just a concern on my end. Councilman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, with 2 months left on each of those terms, I'm confident that Mr. Provost, he was kind of public in scheduling with us that he had conflicts on Wednesday and stuff. And while EHS has kind of had scheduling all over the place all year, there's no rhyme or reason to when we meet for these meetings at all. Board of Health meets consistently on certain Thursdays, so I think it'd be easier for any citizen to serve on the Board of Health than it would be for EHS with the way of no consistency of these meetings. So I'm confident he'll be good on the Board of Health.
Okay. Yeah, and the schedule is tailored to the members, right? So my preference is a set date, but I'm trying to make sure I have a quorum and make sure that people have an opportunity to participate. But even last year, I went back a little bit and looked, that there was inconsistencies there as well. And the schedule was more set last year than this year. But regardless, those are just my concerns. Councilor Plaza?
Volunteers have to come by, whether they attend everything in every single meeting. We've had councils miss a half a year. They're still running for office this time. So we have to kind of respect the volunteers, at the same time try and pick people that can, cover it. I know this gentleman. He works for a living. He's very busy. He's got a son. He's a single parent. I've never seen anybody with a work schedule like this guy, and he still wants to give back to his community. That's the guy I want on board. But I do understand you have to be at the meetings to be effective. But I think he'll be there to be effective. Thank you.
With all due respect, someone's medical, that was a medical issue, and so I don't want to compare apples to oranges here. We should stick to the item on the agenda.
Madam Chair, with all due respect, this is my appointment. I told you I had a conversation with him. He's committed. If he's not committed, then I'll make a decision when that reappointment comes up.
Thank you, I appreciate that, thank you. Go ahead, Councilor Monti.
I would just like to say thank you to Mr. Provost for applying. And as far as the scheduling of last year as well, I think Mr. Provost is very open about this. I'd like to publicly congratulate his son, who has now completed the Eagle Scout program, and he no longer has that outstanding commitment. So I think he's just to add to how many things he juggles and how great of a person he is for this town and we're lucky to have him forward with us today.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Thank you,
Councilor
Chair,
Dow.
for you. I agree with you, but right now, we have only 2 applications, 2 members. The board is empty. We have a lot of decisions to be made. So I think I should thank them for coming forward and try to fill that position. And again, he's not getting paid for it. I understand your concern is important, but at the same time, we need members to be able to make a lot of decisions, especially now with the curve pickup and all different stuff coming up. So thank you for moving forward and come and try to move the town and put it back on the feet. And every person volunteered to help right now. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any further discussion? Councilor Marquetti?
Could I hear from Mr. Provost as to why
Sure.
he wants to?
He recused himself. He's been recused from
He-
this.
yeah.
Well, I know he's not voting, but.
That would, I could look it up in Robert's rules, but
That's
I'm
all
pretty
right.
sure you're not
I can
supposed
ask him
to.
at the town council meeting if you prefer.
That would make more sense, Councilor Marquetti.
Sure, that's fine. All right. All right, without further discussion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Are you abstaining?
She voted yes.
Oh, you voted yes, okay, 3 to 1. Okay. All right, item number 4. Let the record reflect Mr. Provost's coming back into the meeting. Review and discuss the town manager's appointment of Roland LaRochelle to the Board of Health effective immediately through June 30th, 2026. Entertain a motion to town council for approval.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Manager.
So this appointment is for Mr. LaRochelle to come back to the Board of Health. Did understand his reasons for stepping back when he did before. However, circumstances have changed, so he's back maybe to be engaged. No doubt that he's very experienced in the Board of Health, his qualifications. I had the opportunity as chair of the council to chair the COVID-19 task force that we had, and he was an integral part of getting the COVID inoculation center up and working with the art group through that whole process. So it's without hesitation that I recommend him for appointment.
Thank you. Any further discussion, Councilor Anthony?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Yeah, again, the same echo that it's great to have 2 people at the last second. We really need someone to fill. I would go as far as say there's probably not a lot of other people in town you could think of that would be a better fit for the Board of Health than Mr. LaRochelle. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Totally agree.
Councilor
If I can
Marquetti.
hear from Mr. Larshaw, so why he wants to be on the Board of Health.
Sure. As you know, I was on it before. I really enjoyed it, I think with my background. And like the town manager said, when I was liaison to the clinic, helping work in the town's interest with Harrington Hospital, it was over 50,000 people that we inoculated, or they inoculated. And I was in charge of the homebound. And I had to reach out to every person who wanted a homebound vaccine, and I had to follow the DPH recommendations. And I was honest, I gave them options, and even the people that told me, I had to tell them that they did not qualify, thanked me, and sought me out when they came to the clinic and got a vaccine. And if that isn't the best thing for working with the public, I don't know what is. And we've got a lot of hurdles. Focus right now, what the town manager said with the curbside, but we can't forget everything else that the Board of Health is charged to do before it sneaks up on us and
Like
bites
a
us.
ton of stuff we're not
Lots of
looking at right now.
Yes. And I think I can help out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any?
If I can add, I'd also like to say that one of the things that Roland has been involved in heavily is a lot of inter-community communication with several other communities and working on task force and that kind of stuff. I'm really liking the name of the group that you were running. Triac, thank you. Triac. And so that kind of stuff is what we really need as well, is to be able to reach out to other communities and and cooperated. He's a good fit for us.
Great, thank you.
Just a quick second, this gentleman, he has got the history. I'm always a big fan of people that, he went through the pandemic, he saw hands-on how this worked. He successfully assisted in the pandemic, along with blight, mental health, and a lot of other issues that he dealt with. So where were we 5 years ago, 4 years ago? He's got the history, and that is very important because the building blocks moving forward are going to be very important to build on a lot of stuff that's already been done by previous Board of Health. And I think having a guy with that history is just priceless, paramount with the experience that he has. Thank you.
Great. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Abstentions? Unanimous. All right, item 5, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Thank you.